A law firm is offering justice for victims of Vince McMahon. Plus, we have the latest on the previously unreleased Ashley Massaro statement, and a TNA star's contract is expiring. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. Let's bring you up to speed on the Vince McMahon allegations. There's been a few bits over the last couple of days that we should talk about, including a law firm that is looking to rally more allegations towards and against Vince McMahon and WWE.
Yeah, it's a US law firm. Pintas and Mullins have opened a website named WWEsettlements.com, inviting anybody who witnessed abuse or were themselves abused by Vince McMahon or anyone from the WWE to reach out for potential justice and compensation. The website details recent allegations and investigations into Vince McMahon, adding thousands of abuse victims are speaking up every year to receive the compensation and justice they deserve. Fill in the form above or call us today for a confidential and free conversation with one of our female attorneys.
I'm surprised it took this long for law firms to reach out and offer representation for other people who have allegations against Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
but that is what is happening there. We have an update on a statement, a previously unreleased statement by Ashley Massaro. So Ashley, we lost in 2019. Massaro claims to have been assaulted at a US military base in 2006. And when she spoke to WWE about it, spoke to Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the upper management, she was told, and in some cases, according to certain claims, threatened to never bring it up. Now, what's happened is this came out of an affidavit from a lawsuit about concussion protocol in 2016. However, over the last few days, another statement from Ashley Massaro, previously unreleased, has been shared by Vice. And in this statement, it talks about how Ashley Massaro was allegedly preyed on by Vince McMahon one particular evening, I believe it speaks of, where she had constant calls to her phone and constant calls to her hotel room, allegedly with Vince McMahon asking her to come to her room. And when Ashley Massaro rebuffed him, this statement says that Vince McMahon started writing Ashley Massaro segments on television with a plan to essentially bring her career to an end and damage her reputation on the way out. When we think of segments involving Vince McMahon and Ashley Massaro, there is one that springs to mind that was uncomfortable then and is more so uncomfortable now, and it's the one where I think it must be 2007, maybe 2006, where Massaro is running backstage and she bumps into Vince McMahon and he's got
knocks the coffee on him.
Yeah, and it's Vince just for 2 minutes just berating her and Ashley crying and Vince mocking her for crying. He throws coffee over it. It's incredibly uncomfortable. And this statement says that Vince McMahon was the one that was putting these segments together, and it alleges because she rebuffed his advances.
Yeah, you're watching it at the time thinking this is, the heel Mr. McMahon persona being sort of degrading towards his staff, but then everything that we know now, those segments really do take on a new light when you watch them back all these years later, which is not nice to see at all.
McMahon and his legal team have yet to comment on the latest statement. However, John Laurinaitis has spoken regarding the previous affidavit regarding the incident at the US military base. John Laurinaitis' legal team have said that contrary to a statement put out in 2019 that says WWE had no idea of this incident, upper management had absolutely known what was going on at the time, and it kind of adds some weight to the idea that Ashley Massaro, according to this affidavit, was told to not talk about it.
Yeah.
In case that ruins a relationship that WWE had with the US military.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we have an interview with News Nation with close friend of Ashley Massaro, Cara Papaya, who revealed that Ashley spoke to Vince McMahon many times about that alleged incident back in 2006, and added that former WWE executive Stephanie McMahon also talked to Massaro about the incident. Papaya says there was no compassion and no sympathy from McMahon. So yeah, that came out over the weekend, didn't it? About Stephanie being in the know.
The allegations are that Stephanie McMahon was encouraging of Ashley Massaro to speak to management about it, and as soon as she went into a meeting, Stephanie took to paraphrase this allegation, turned on her and essentially kind of joined sides with the board and told her not to take this thing any further. All of this, of course, coming out as a result of the Janelle Grant allegations that led to Vince McMahon stepping down from his position on the TKO board. And it's an ongoing story. We will keep you up to date with it as best we can at cultaholic.com. Also, Dawn Marie spoke to Wrestling Then and Now, and she was asked about whether or not she'd had any problems with Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. She did give one example of witnessing inappropriate talent and management relations backstage, though.
Yeah, kind of said there was a girl from the Divas search, a really nice girl, and she would come to me for a lot of advice because she was getting calls from the main office, and she was just freaked out. You always hear the stories, but you don't know the truth. But then, when she was telling me the truth, she was so scared and broken, she ended up leaving. That's the only time I've ever encountered an issue, was that one person.
Now, they've not been named. The Diva Search person isn't named on this interview with Dawn Marie from Wrestling Then and Now, but there's more stories such as that coming out. Paul Roma today has been speaking to news outlets and says that he is aware of other allegations about Vince McMahon that haven't come out yet as well. As I say, this is going to be a story that's going to roll forward, and we'll keep you updated best we can at cultaholic.com. We will move over to TNA, where we could be saying goodbye to a former Impact champion.
Yeah, Fightful are saying that former Impact World Champion Steve Macklin's contract with TNA is currently set to expire in May. Macklin, of course, joined the company back in 2020 after being released by WWE, where he was a forgotten son. Remember those halcyon days?
And do you know, well, the halcyon is a way of describing them. Of all those three that came through the Forgotten Sons thing, the general consensus was that Steve Macklin would be the one that would be the most forgotten. You know, in this, you know, you got Buddy Murphy there. You've got Weston Blake. Sorry, not well. Even might prove my point, doesn't it? It compares to Weston Blake, and the other Gunner. Thank you,
Gunter. There, I was like, hey, what different gimmick altogether.
It's terrible that the Forgotten Sons are all forgotten except Steve Macklin, who honestly has had a real renaissance in Impact Wrestling. I've loved the work that he's done. Just this cold-blooded type, and gutted when I heard that there's a chance that we might not see him in TNA going forward.
Yeah, we have a Frightful continuing their reports saying they haven't learned if the two sides have talked about an extension. So, where could he go?
I mean, I don't see him. I mean, I could see him. It'd be great to see him doing stuff in New Japan.
Yeah,
there's a wild and woolly idea. Maybe doing stuff with New Japan in America and moving over to New Japan in Japan. I feel like that style. I think he'd really grow in that market as well. Gritty. It really would. Don't know what to read into this. I've been kind of told by a few sources that it's just a little bit of fun. But last night, several TNA stars, including Josh Alexander, Mike Bailey, Jordan Grace, a few others, shared hourglass emojis around about the same time.
I'll tell you what this means, Tom.
Oh, go on.
I reckon because some of them sent that joint letter to the powers that be at Impact over the release of Scott D'Amore. I think they're waiting for a reply, and those emojis were just about waiting for the reply, and the time is a ticking. That's definitely what that means. That's not just a reason I've made up off the top of my head, but that's definitely, I can exclusively reveal, based on no sources, that's what that means.
I can exclusively reveal that Karrion Kross is going back to TNA. It was, I mean, again, we don't know what that is. Obviously, there's a lot of theories running wild. I can imagine that the guys in TNA are enjoying watching people debate what this might be, as TNA very much is in a situation with a bit of flux at the moment. What with Scott D'Amore leaving and Anthem taking more control over the product, and as per that letter, a genuine concern from the roster about what comes next. So, of course, doing something like that is going to draw the attention of the internet, isn't it?
I just hope it goes well, because everything was going so well for TNA, the debut of Nick Nemeth, the most wanted man in America, and all that sort of stuff. It felt like they were flying again, and then this has happened out of nowhere, and it feels like a big mess currently.
It was like getting the Thomas the Tank Hornby train set for Christmas, and then realising that you haven't got the batteries for it. It was all the excitement, then going, there's a key component missing that should be here.
And then Woolworths isn't open until the 27th, so you've got to wait 2 days. It's an absolute nightmare.
The struggle is
But at least you get a pick and mix on the 27th when you do go, for being a good boy and waiting those 2 days.
Being a good boy and waiting, you get a pick and mix. That's, there's easier times, simpler days. Like and retweet if you agree. We'll have more wrestling news throughout the day, of course, at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.